Obviously not working hard enough.
Who's got time for that? Okay, ready? All right. So the time is
6:01.
6:02. 6:02. So I call the April 12th meeting to order. Please stand for the salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I make a motion that we make some changes to the agenda, that we move the meeting house to above citizens' comments, and that we add driveway permit to the end of new business action. It's item G.
Ms. Rose?
All right, so motion's been made and seconded to adjust the agenda to move the meeting house before citizen comments and to add the driveway permit as under new business G. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none. So meeting house. All right, so we have the meeting house on the agenda because the grant that we applied for to help with funding towards moving it, we did not get. And we also had another storm a couple of weeks ago where more of the meeting house blew off. And I've talked to Jody, who is like, that is a timber and a hazard waiting to happen. So we need to move forward, hopefully before winter, and have a plan in place for the meeting house. I invited Mr. Blanchett here to discuss an easement for access to the side and back of the property so that we can move forward with the RFP that we were working on before. The access we would need would be when we do the walkthrough for the proposals to be able to walk around the side and the back for people to see. We would schedule it. It would be a time schedule event. And then we would need access for anything resulting in whatever the RFP is, whether it's to shore up the building, move the building, or take the building down. So we just wanted to talk to you about the easement. We've tried to call your attorney through our attorney multiple times, and she has been non-responsive to our attorney. So we would like to propose, we would work with our attorney on an easement agreement that we would present to you for your attorney, and we would offer a $500 one-time payment to go towards the legal fees for the reviewing of the easement. And then we were talking about a daily fee for when we use the easement. And that's what we wanted to see if you would be fine with that.
Well, at first, I'd like to discuss it with my attorney.
Okay.
So I can read something.
Yep, that's what we would do. When we work out the numbers with you today, if we can agree on them, we have an easement that we can write up, and then it would be presented to your attorney to read. So it would be.
So it's not going into effect. It's for you to then go over with your attorney.
Right.
Right, well, thing is, the last time I had her draw up an easement, and I brought it here, and then we voted down, and it cost me $1,100. So $500 isn't even to touch that.
Right.
That I've already spent, and now if I go see her again, it's gonna cost me more.
Right, that's
So
why
you need to look at that $500 limit, so that things turn out to be a wash.
Yep, that's why we're gonna put the easement together, and I will present it to you for your attorney to go over with discussion. But today, we would just wanna see if the $500 for the one-time payment was fine, and agree on a daily use and the procedures on, like we would call you or schedule a visit. We don't see anything that would be without a couple of days notice at least, unless for emergency. So it wouldn't be like we would just call and show up. Everything should be scheduled.
I've had a lot of different verbal stuff over the years, and I
Right.
think you're aware of some,
Oh, yeah,
you guys
yeah.
weren't here.
So everything would be written in the
People just show
agreement.
up and they're in
Right.
the back door looking in the window of the house.
Right.
And that's not acceptable. to
Right.
me.
Yeah, no.
Private property, private means private.
Right. Yeah, no, it wouldn't be anything like that. It would just be for when we use it. So, and we would schedule it.
So, and I'm sure we can specify in the easement, 3 business days notice, unless it was an emergency. So the building's starting to come down and we need to get someone to start shoring it up because it's.
I still need to be notified.
Oh, yeah.
I need, my son lives there right now, he's my tenant. He needs to know that he can't get in or out of his driveway.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Understood, but that's why we asked you to make sure that you understand that we're not just saying, we're gonna just go ahead and
Do stuff whenever we
do
feel
stuff
like
when we feel like it. We want to, it's a problem for the town and we need to do something. We have the limitation without the easement of, there's very little we can do.
Right.
And this is, you're not agreeing to anything right now.
Right.
Yeah, but, well, I want her to look at it
Right,
anyways,
yeah.
and, I would prefer that she draws it up, not, because I've got an easement from the town back when they put in the sidewalk, and, I brought it to my attorney, and then she said, "Don't sign it." I'll sign it. It was good, the first three things were good for the homeowner.
Right.
The last 2 stipulations was good for the town and no protection for the homeowner. And that's my concern by having somebody else draw it up.
Right, no, because if we would, and we already have an old one that we had written up a while ago, but it has a lot that needs to be changed to it because it was written specifically for the RFP before. I've already gone through it with our attorney, and it would include like making sure that if we ever do have to do work and access that through the driveway, that anyone that goes on that property that's a person doing work has insurance, that your name's on the insurance too. So it would have all these things in place that would protect you with the insurance of anything. It would be done so that you're covered that way.
I'm not saying I don't trust you, but I don't know you good enough to trust you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Unless it's written down, I wouldn't trust me either.
So we
I get it.
We already have something almost written, and it wouldn't take long for us to add the $500 to it, whatever we agree on per day, how many days notice. Like I said, it includes the proof of insurance, and we can just give that to you, and then you can give it to your attorney, and whatever she wants to add to it, we can go that way. We're open to that.
I haven't seen her yet anyway, but
Yeah.
What are you doing?
That's Gail, Francesca's office.
Because our attorney has all her information, and we can just email it right to her too, and they can work on it together.
She's not getting back to you.
Right, I don't know why.
Is she no longer practicing for whatever reason?
Well, that's why I called her, maybe she retired and she didn't tell me, I mean, she's still got my retainer money and things, but I haven't seen her since the pandemic.
Right.
So this is to work on the building or
This is to do whatever we have to do to a building. We have,
just assess it?
yeah, well, probably everything, because we would want the agreement to last for as long as the town owns the property. So it would just be, we want to put the RFP out, which is a request for proposal. It'll go out, for anyone who wants to propose. They'll propose to the selectmen if they want to buy the property and buy the building, if they just want to buy the building and move it from the property, if they want to buy the building and move it somewhere for the town to use because there's tax credits if they do that. So it will give all these different options for people. We've had people offer to just buy the building. We've had people offer just the building. They just want to take it apart and move it to Texas because they don't have buildings like that in Texas. So,
Chestnut beans anymore either.
that's
Right.
People are after that.
so, and if no one applies for anything, then we have to decide if we're gonna tear it down ourselves. So we need to have access to that too. So this would be the first thing would be for the RFP, for the walkthrough, because we'll have it open, like we'll have a date and a time set with anyone that wants to put in for the RFP. They can walk around and see the condition of the building. So there would be that date. And then when we decide we don't have to pick any of the choices. We're still open to do whatever we want to do. But it does give us options, and then it would just depend on what the person is that buys it.
And if we can't get something done before next winter, then the town's gonna have to pay to have someone come in and shore up the building so that it's structurally sound again until whatever eventually happens with it, happens with it.
It's structurally sound in the sense that it will implode right now instead of fall over.
Yeah.
The roof is not
The roof's
viable. You
caving
can't
in.
walk on that roof.
No, that's why we're like, how are we gonna patch it up? Because we can't even have anyone up there to do that.
Ronnie was the only one crazy enough to go up there. He was like a monkey up there.
And Ronnie stepped down, so Jim, would you like to go up on the roof? Because I'm
Like
saying,
my thumbs right where they are.
yeah, so.
And when the shingles are coming off that roof, they're like paper, they're not even shingles.
So it's
Yeah, the whole back of it's asbestos and the floor, I think the floor is asbestos.
it's really a hazard because it's full of lead paint and it's mortared together with asbestos, like plaster. I mean,
Yeah,
I wouldn't want my kids in there.
right.
It's kind of dangerous, I think.
Don't keep the rats out.
Yeah, the rats aren't in it.
No, the bats are, but the rats are.
That's been in that Belfry with this one. in town.
Full of bats.
Yeah, so I have the agreement almost together. If we can agree on a date,
I don't know if I feel comfortable making it a permanent easement.
No, this is not permanent, I don't believe.
no, it would
I think she
just
said as
be,
long as the town owns the building.
I would like
so-
it to be for as long as the town owns the building, just so that, but I'm not expecting it to be that long. I'm hoping that it'll be till the winter.
Hopefully that will be an empty lot within 1 to 2 years, whether the building is taken apart and moved to Texas, or whether it's moved across the street, or whether it's taken down and just hauled away by whoever. But we need to move forward on it, and the last time the town voted on it was 5 years ago.
Before I was.
When we voted on it, Ricky Robillard went back there and said he would tear it down in one day for $17,000. When the selectmen decided to put it up for vote to the townspeople, they put a $38,000 price tag on the removal of the building. So they more than doubled
That's because
what it would have cost to get it done, and it didn't pass only by a few votes.
right, and that's because of the asbestos and the lead. You can't just take a building down like that without the mitigation that we're
One day it
required.
would have been gone.
Yeah, because
We're still here 5 years later.
because we're a town and we have to follow things through with the proper, like, mitigation.
OSHA
We couldn't-
requirements,
Yeah, we can't just tear down a lead and asbestos building.
There was also, when we voted, and I think and it was before you were on the board, so that's pushing it to 7 years
Well,
ago.
I was still on the board, I just wasn't.
You weren't first selectman. But if it was then, if I remember correctly, there was also a strong incentive that the town, it wasn't just the cost, the town didn't just want to destroy it because of the historical significance. And I think that feeling may have waned a little bit in the years as that has deteriorated. And so there may be less opposition to us dispositioning the building rather than ensuring its historical, maintaining it and moving it as a historical artifact. So.
Hey, well, if you can give me something,
Okay.
but like I said, I don't know if I want a forever either.
Okay, yep, we can talk about that too. Well, I'll just put something with our attorney together and we can get it to you for you guys to review and we can just keep
We
going.
can address it annually or something.
Yeah, we
other
can do
than-
that too.
Or winter to winter, or however you
We
gotta.
can try that too, yeah.
Because I don't have a great deal of optimism that the building's gonna be going to fix. And you get it.
So I understand your concern, Dave, and what if we, for initially, let's say a 2-year,
We can go year by year.
we can go year by year or 2 years and then annually, so that gives us incentive to try and make sure that it's gone Within 2 years, would you be comfortable with that? We did initially 2 years and then
If
annually?
you were tearing it down, I wouldn't charge you anything, because then all the problems are gone. You know what I mean?
And the
Yeah,
man's
like-
wishes that, donated that, leased that land, was the land to stay with that property. That was his wishes, and that's what bothers me.
It bothered her ever since she turned over to the historical society, because it wasn't a church, it was supposed to go back, but the attorney says that it goes back to the descendants of the people who owned the properties in the 1840s. But even so, none of those wishes were, I mean, it just went to the historical society, and then they sold it. That was another nightmare for us. But anyways, we had my displeasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming, and I'll get something to you
All right.
as soon as we get it together. And like I said, we can go back and forth with whatever suggestions.
I know nothing's gonna be quick, because I'm gonna be going on a vacation for a short time, and my calendar's busy.
Okay.
So I gotta try to work out something to be able to see that.
Okay.
Look at it. I think the last time I saw her was a letter I sent when you first came on the board.
Okay, so that was 5 years ago.
Yeah, so that's the last time that
Yeah.
I've actually had to see her about the church.
Okay.
I'm sure she's.
Yeah, she's got a file on it.
Yeah.
And you said she wasn't just a single practitioner, you mentioned a firm.
Well, yeah, Di Francisco is,
Right, so even if she's retired, someone's got to have taken over her caseload if she's no longer with the firm, so.
I think it's her father's firm as well, so maybe they both retired. I don't know, I haven't been in contact in a couple of years.
Right, because even an email is, you know, to that's $25. Yeah, after the tape, I get it.
Maybe I owe them more too, who knows? All right,
All right.
you need anything else?
Nope, that's all. Yeah.
You decide you're gonna destroy it, and you save all of that money. I don't care if you destroy it one piece at a time so somebody can buy it off of you, I don't care how it goes. It's nice if it was gone.
Okay.
The other my tire, boy hit my truck, I gotta have it painted.
There is a lot of stuff, I don't know if you saw it.
Oh, I was
They
over there
picked
picking
it
it
up.
up. I've been picking it up. Every time he calls, I'm over there picking it up, so I know how much stuff.
The nails are back now, but it's not just on the church, on my
It's
house.
weird because there weren't, when we picked up all this stuff the other day, I think there were only 2 nails. It's just all.
You look at the hotboard siding, the old fashioned wrought iron nails are all coming out.
Yeah.
But the nails on my house are coming out too. I don't know if there's some kind of magnetic
Oh,
force
no.
that's going on in between there, but.
There's a giant iron meteorite underneath the Methodist meeting house.
Could be. Supernatural.
Right.
I don't know. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming
Yep.
We'll be in touch. Yep. Okay, citizens' comments. Approval of the minutes.
I've read the minutes, I make a motion that they be approved as written.
And I,
Good night.
Happy Easter.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Correspondence and announcements. Yeah, and correspondence and announcements. That's a lot of things, so I have that back over.
Oh, good.
So most of these are my correspondences that I sent out. We had to submit a letter to the Connecticut Land Mobile Radio Network. It has to do with radios that we agreed to use on our ARPA funds, of the safety radios for the fire department, public works, and school buses. The Connecticut Land Mobile Radio Network doesn't usually work with schools because of the chatty nature of the school bus drivers. So I had to, I went to the Board of Ed and talked to them about it, and they said they would support anything that we need to do, to comply with the, request of the, Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection for the radio. So I sent a letter, and I haven't really heard much back on what they decided to see if they were going to approve it. I sent the drawdown requests for Beachdale Pond and for Beach Pond. For Beach Pond, I put in a request for a deep drawdown, but I also said that it would be better if they change their drawdown policy, because their drawdowns go from, you have to have the letter in before, because they vote on them in like June or July. And then they start the drawdown in October, and it doesn't give much time for people on the pond to get contractors if they need to do work. So,
Why did they change that? Because when I was a kid, they would be drawing the pond down in August.
yeah,
And it was well down in September. And you moved out in October.
they do them in October now, so I don't know why.
What's the delay? 2 boards?
Probably fishing or something.
Either fishing or voters complaining.
Yeah. I don't know, but I did
Shortening the season.
request that they change their drawdown policy for,
There's still fish, there's still water in the pond.
well, a deep drawdown there, wouldn't do that before, it would do less. I haven't heard anything on that, because they don't decide until like June or July. So I wrote in a couple of written testimonies. One was for, Senate Bill 296, which they ended up not going anywhere. And that was an act to eliminate the requirements for towns to store personal property of the evicted tenant, which is something that we have to do, and it's really annoying. And it takes a lot of our time, and it kind of doesn't make sense either, because I personally have to have my name on the storage unit, because they don't recognize, we don't have a place to store property in a safe place. So we have to rent a storage unit down the road, and the storage unit rental place doesn't recognize a municipality as a rental person, so it has to go in my, like, the evicted people's
Crazy.
properties in my name.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of weird stuff that.
And then what happens when, if it's sitting there long enough and
That's what
you're
we
no
had to
longer
do.
for a selectman?
Well, no, it only has to be there, there's like a state statute that town has to keep it for like a certain number of days. And then if they don't show up, then we have to auction it. And usually.
We have to auction it?
Yes, because, or else it goes in the paper as my stuff, because the storage unit's in my name. If we have the storage unit people do the auction.
It's good saying.
It'll look like I have all these abandoned storage units everywhere. So usually what we do is we take the stuff out of the storage, the state marshal, his group puts the stuff in there, they clear the house out and put the stuff in there. It used to be us, but they changed that recently, thank goodness, because that was just crazier. But, the state marshal and his people put it in a storage unit, and then stays there for 30 days. If they don't come get it, then Public Works has to go and get it from a storage unit and then bring it to our property, and then we have to do the auction.
So
Why is there, so it's a mandate that it has to be auctioned? Normally, the storage is, if the rent's not paid,
They'll auction.
you lose the entire contents
Right.
of the units.
Yeah.
Why couldn't we just leave it there?
No, because they would have to have it, and it would be in my name. That's the thing.
So
I
is there a potential credit ding or something?
Yeah, there's credit there. When they do the auction, it comes up as my name, like not paying
Yeah.
for the unit.
You better reserve it.
Because they don't.
25 units, and I don't know why I'm paying for them.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, and then it's come to the point where like people, like, and these are people that are like having hard times and are usually like just not upset, that are upset, and you can't be like, I'm not giving you your stuff back until you pay us. But we really just want the
I'm just amazed that if the town wanted storage, the town could not get storage at the self-storage place.
No, it has to be in someone's name. Weird, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I put that all in the testimony. They must love it when I write testimony. Because they're probably like, what the heck? They don't
Exactly,
understand-
because they have to
don't
read
under-
all the correspondence that they get at their meetings.
But they don't understand like how small towns are. Like they don't think of these things.
Yeah.
Because the other, well, I think I have that.
Port in Washington.
They probably, I don't know what they.
They have their own storage
They
facility,
probably put it somewhere in their own property. I don't know. Yeah, that's what we did the last time. When the building was actually. Well, it is now, but before when it was still public works, we couldn't do that because that was public works. Yeah, so now we put it in there.
Yeah.
If they
Can we
don't
just put
have a lot
cages
of
up in
stuff.
there and, 4 cages? There you go.
And I wrote a testimony for,
Then we still have to auction it.
there was a bill up, saying that, towns couldn't charge for beach parking. Towns couldn't charge for beach parking. They couldn't charge residents and non-residents different amounts. So, and if they didn't comply, they would have their town aid road money taken away, which was like ridiculous. However, so we have been.
Do they have to be state residents?
It doesn't matter. It just has to be town residents versus non-town residents.
That we can't do that.
Yeah. So I wrote in on that because that's how we do that. We charge more for our out-of-town residents, and they were making it sound like it was because rich towns, it was an equity, it was passed by someone.
Discrimination.
Yeah, and it was an equity thing, and so I wrote, we're a distressed municipality, we do this, like our residents already pay for these things in their taxes, like, so of course they're gonna be charged less than people that like don't pay for it in their taxes. And then I got notified by Representative Lemieux that they didn't intend for it to be an inland water issue, it was supposed to be for
Ocean funds.
oceans. So they changed it as a study for beaches, for parking at near beaches, near tidal and oceans. So it doesn't really fit anymore. They forgot that there were places to pond. So that was gone.
Okay.
The Connecticut Communities Challenge grant that we applied for, that was the Church Street grant that included the meeting house meeting.
Is that the one you're talking about, that there's a second round?
Yeah, so, this is round 1. I guess there is a round 2. We actually have a meeting with EECD, with John, our planner, to go over why we didn't get it. So that when we apply for the next one, we'll know how to do it better, I guess. We'll see.
So curiosity, in that process, do they explain why or?
That's what we're hoping. They'll tell us how they rated it. When I looked at all the towns that won it, the smallest town was like Winchester or something.
Killingly.
No, Killingly has more people than this other town. This other town only had 10,000 people. Killingly has more. But it was mostly larger. Killingly,
So 10,000 plus.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Big things.
Yeah. Stanford got it for a beer garden.
Stanford got it for a beer garden. Tax dollars at work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what do we do for that?
We should have put in for a beer garden.
What were we thinking?
I know. Everyone keeps talking about the Oktoberfest that we used to have in the 80s and back. So.
The next thing, the Eastern Region Tourism District, that I am vice chair of. We've decided with the tourism district board members agreed to split. Currently, the district is just from the whole eastern part of the state, but it's called Mystic Country. They agreed to break it up into 3 destinations. destinations inside the group. So destination one, which is where we're in, is like Plainfield, Essex, Griswold, North is destination one. And destination two is like New London, and
Coastline.
yeah, the coastline that way. And then destination three is like Mystic, North Stonington, and the coastline the other way. Yeah. So we were naming the destinations, and for our destination, the top name was Scenic Northeast, and the second one was Green Valley Country. So just using those names.
Well, Green Valley would almost time to launch like a heritage quarter.
Yeah. Yeah. So those
Last
are the
Green
two.
Valley.
Scenic Northeast is the first one, but it depends on what the other districts choose, because when we pick what goes together. It's been a process that people in the tourism district have been trying to do for like ever. So to get the focus off of being called Mystic Country. And then I have a letter from a resident about the resident state trooper. And I can read it. Dear Selectmen, I read this morning in your March meeting minutes what appears to be serious thought is being taken into budgeting for a resident state trooper. I'm forwarding this on to you that my wife and I are strongly in favor of this. When we first moved to Valentine nearly 46 years ago, there was a pride that the town did not need a police presence. Unfortunately, that has all changed. A resident trooper has been needed here for a few years. Talking with others on Rule of the Dev, they also support having a trooper assigned to Valentine. I heard a statement many years ago from a prominent politician that the first priority of an elected official is the safety of his or her constituents. Having a resident trooper in town will be a great step in improving the safety and well-being of all town citizens. If Valentine wishes to grow and prosper, it needs to attract individuals and families that embraces as a quiet, stable, and law-abiding town. Still, those who currently would not like to see trooper assigned will move on once the trooper is in place. This will be my will. That's development on over there.
I apologize for the response.
I did.
Did I include you all?
I don't think I said.
I saw that email, I didn't see your response.
I didn't read it. I asked him to talk to his neighbors.
Yeah.
About his concerns, especially the taxpayers. And at the same time, recommend that he also scrupulously, ask his neighbors to scrupulously obey the posted speed limits and slow the traffic down. Also find that anybody watching in town probably isn't even certified state trooper. We'll just need some pedestrian house for
Correct.
people who change people's behavior when we go.
Yeah, that was our current theme when the state trooper range was being proposed. Those four were, the strong police presence will deter all crime in town. Exactly.
Yeah, they weren't even gonna come through there.
Yeah, they would not respond unless it was an active shooter situation at the school, was the example they gave us. So they were not on duty. They were on training status. So it was not their job to respond to anything. But yeah, okay.
That's all I have, so I don't know if you guys have anything besides that.
Well, yeah, on Gunner's Run, I had given this sheet to Giselle and asked her to look into it. There's a house at 215 Bennett. This is recently listed on Zillow for $1.2 million. And I was curious as to the value on tax rolls. And I was wondering because of COVID and the last rebound, I guess the assessor did not go into any homes. On the first inspection. But I'm just wondering if the property market is still out of line with our current valuations are. If when we were on a 5-year cycle, I guess, for evaluations, if this might not be a catalyst for changing that and having evaluations sooner. You know, everybody knows, that the rate goes down, you're still writing a bigger tax check. But it seems to me me in my mind that certainly the housing on the lake is probably appreciated a lot more than say housing on Wild School Road with a lot of people. But for that far out of line, they almost, I don't have a picture of the house, it's a beautiful house, a nice carriage house up for son. It would have been listed, what was there, $400,000, and asking 1.3. That's not just a miss, that's not even the same amount.
Right, because the
And
assessment
I'm
should be
wondering
what, 85%?
70%.
70%?
So, free country, as you ever want, if you find somebody's gonna pay 1.3, that's all on fun, but 1.3 is $900,000 on the tax rolls, these are tax rolls.
Yep, that would be you talk to the assessor's office about it.
I suppose it's yourself, but,
Okay, yeah, the assessors were down at the other, all the way, they would be the ones that would know more about how that works. So, yeah, following what you're saying, that's a good one.
Right, and that is, even a 50% representative sample of how undervalued the assessments are versus what market value is. That's a huge hit that the town is taking.
and my family owns property in Lloyd, and this person might be happy to speak about this. But tying in, again, we're in the Lake Association people would say, and their perspective, maybe, if there were a revaluation done, and on the lake, it would worth a lot more than, listen for, that would probably argue for substance. That's like a plan, and we discussed about it, not specifically available to people who are trying to private property tax towns that address their specific concerns.
Right.
And be for rebates or so on.
For the, if they
Yeah,
have.
why are we paying all these taxes that we have to spend in order to else in town? We pay some more, but at least get something that would specifically address your needs. So it's portion control. Some such.
That was what they were told, if they formed the association, we would do that.
Maybe we should send letters to whoever's in one.
Right, this is Golden, I don't know.
Because I talked to Tim Hollister, he had sort of in contact with me to the same thing.
Yeah,
Or kind of fell off.
I don't know if they were supposed to be, but they're not gonna be an association for this, but yeah.
No, no, it's going to be part of the practice.
Anything else?
Conversation with you about consider the possibility of contacting the state highway department.
Yeah.
So about having a rumble switch or now speed changes, which are phenomenal. 165, 5 Roberts, coming on the hill, 60 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Slow it down by the entrance road.
Well, something that Tracy had when, I think before your time on the board, looked at last board cycle was, I remember what you had gotten back from DOT is they weren't willing to do anything until the end of Shetucket Turnpike was altered. And so it narrowed the road right there by Robin Cemetery because that is, correct me if you remember the term, that is, the DOT refers to that as an accelerator zone because the road widens, so it encourages people to speed up and it's a downhill. So part of the issue with addressing speed there was in order to narrow the road, Shetucket, comes down at a 45 and it would be, Shetucket would need a hook so that it came to a 90 degree. So it was just a 90 degree left or right at the end.